Hey y'all, it's Strayus here, and today I want to talk about a man who would not be murdered. Now, I was listening to this podcast. It's called And That's Why We Drink. If you don't listen to it, you should definitely listen to it. It's an amazing podcast. And there was this one murder, true crime story that was told in a very, very old episode of their podcast that it got me hooked, and I could not stop thinking about it. And I told my brother about it. I've told my cousin about it. I keep thinking about it. I did some research on it, and I thought maybe if I get it out here on the internet that it would get out of my brain and into the interwebs, and I could forget about it, because it has been driving me crazy with how insane this story is. So it starts in 1933. Our main characters are going to be Michael Malloy, an Irish immigrant who lives in New York now, who used to be a firefighter. He's somewhere in his 60s, and he is a drunk. After the Great Depression hit, he lost his job as a firefighter. He started picking up other jobs, but it really didn't work out for him, and so he kind of climbed into the bottle. The other players are Tony Marino, who is the owner of the speakeasy that Michael Malloy frequents, Francis Pascal, which is a good buddy of Marino, and then three other people who I'm just going to leave their names out because they're part of this, but they're not really key players. They're just kind of co-conspirators that help out with the behind-the-scenes kind of stuff. Marino is lamenting to his buddies, while Michael's sitting in the corner getting drunk, that he's losing his money. He has Michael and a bunch of other drunks that are just drinking off credit because they just lost their jobs, they don't have any money, and they're still coming in, so he's losing a lot of money. So Pascal reminds him about this time that he pulled an insurance fraud scheme. Basically, Marino made friends with this homeless woman. He convinced her to take out a life insurance policy of $2,000 and make him the benefactor. So after she did this, he got her really drunk, took her outside into the cold, sprayed her down with water, and left her there to die. So when the cops, found her in the corner, said it was an accidental death, and so he got the payout. So Pascal reminds Marino of this, that he's done this, and says, hey, why don't we do the same thing on that drunk guy over there? He's gonna drink himself to death anyways, and might as well make money off of it, right? So there's kind of two ways that this has been explained in different articles, depending on which article you read. One way is that Pascal got an acquaintance of his to go with him to 3 separate life insurance companies and say that he wanted to take out a life insurance policy on his brother. And then they would have people at the speakeasy say that Michael Malloy was his brother. And so when he died, they would tell the insurance company that and then be able to get the money. The other side of the story that they talk about is maybe that it was actually they put it in Michael Malloy's name, and then they got him to sign all the paperwork by saying that it was a petition to make Marino mayor, and that if he signed the petition, he would get an open bar tab. So either story, depending on what article you read, it's basically the same outcome, that they got 3 different life insurance policies that added up to $3,500, which would be about $70,000 in today's money, and Michael got an open bar tab. So that's basically what happened. Now, he's given this open bar tab. They think, okay, he's gonna drink himself to death because we're gonna give him so much alcohol. It's gonna be perfect. We're gonna end this tonight. So they give him shot after shot after shot after shot of whiskey, to the point where Marino's arm was getting tired from pouring so many shots. Now, by the end of the night, Michael was like, all right, y'all great. Thanks for this. Slams down his last shot and goes home. So this happened for a couple of nights until they started to think, well, maybe we need to help him along a little bit. So they replaced his alcohol with antifreeze. And they're like, okay, this will probably kill him. Starts taking it back and asks for more. It's fine. So we asked for more. Now, some people might think, oh, antifreeze should have just killed him, right? But there is a scientific explanation that may explain why the antifreeze didn't kill him. The rest of it, who the hell knows? But with antifreeze, ethanol actually blocks the absorption of ethylene glycol in the liver, and it's actually used as an antidote to antifreeze. So maybe that's the reason, but the rest of these I have no idea. So after the antifreeze didn't work, they tried turpentine. Straight up turpentine. Just taking them back like it was nothing. Then they tried this stuff called horse liniment, which is supposed to go on the outside of a horse, but it went inside of the Michael. He was fine. Just great. So they tried rat poison. Rat poison didn't work. He was fine. He was doing great. Taking him back, no problem. Then finally, they tried wood alcohol, denatured alcohol, which just a tiny bit in a glass of wine. You're blind. Should kill you. Did a whole thing of it. But he asked for more. He kept drinking it. Then, after all of this stuff, he falls off the bar stool. And they're like, okay, is he dead? So they check for a pulse, and they listen to his breathing, and it's slow. And they're like, okay, he's gotta wait it out. Wait it out, and he'll be dead soon. Then he takes one long, deep breath, and he starts snoring. He's not dead. So they're like, holy shit, what is it gonna take? Alcohol alone's not doing the job. None of this is doing the job. Rat poison doesn't even do the job. So one of the guys is like, hey, I heard this story about how this guy had oysters that were soaked in alcohol, and he ended up dying because he ate them. So they're like, okay, well, worth a shot. So they took some oysters and they soaked it in denatured alcohol and gave them to him, and he slurped them down and belched and took wood alcohol as a chaser. Doing just fine. This man is made of steel. Next, they're like, hey, we got some sardines that were left out overnight. Let's put them in a sandwich. Put some poison in there and some carpet tacks. Delicious. The best sandwich. Give it to him. He eats it. He asks if there's any more sandwiches. He won't die. And at this point, if I was one of these men, I would think either God is giving me a second chance and saying, oh, you actually don't need to kill this man. Or the universe is just saying this man does not need to die. You need to stop trying because it's not his time yet. Leave him alone. But no, they double down on this. Now this is costing them money. You gotta think that they are paying into this life insurance policy every month. And it has been months, let me tell you. It's like January at this point. They started way back in like September. They're losing money. It's the depression. They're like, what the hell are we doing? So instead of just stopping, they keep going. And they decide, Pascal, he like pulls Marino aside and he's like, hey, this isn't working with the drinking stuff. Why don't we just pull what you did on that lady, the homeless lady? They're like, okay, let's do it. Got him drunk, took him out into the park, dumped a gallon of water on him. It is January. It is negative 14 degrees in New York. It's freezing. Leave him out there with water all over him, his shirt's gone, and peace out. And they're like, that has to be it. We're gonna get a call from somebody saying they found him, and then we're gonna finally get the money. So Marino opens up his speakeasy the next day, and he's like kind of feeling good. He's like, I'm gonna get my money, let's go. And there's Michael in the speakeasy. Somehow he got back to the speakeasy after being frozen outside and is like, it's a wee bit chilly out there today, huh? Yeah, Marina's not happy. So they gather together again and they're like, it has to be an accident. Some of the guys are saying, you know what we need to do? We need to shoot him. And they're like, no, it has to be an accident. One guy's like, I know this taxi driver. We could get him hit with a car. All right, cool. Call up the taxi driver. Hey, we need you to hit this guy with your car. He's like, I'll do it for $100. So, costing them even more money just to try and kill this man. So they do it. They get him really drunk, put him in the backseat of the taxi, take him somewhere, put him in front of the car, hit him with the car. They hear him smack the top, roll off the back, and then they roll over him in the back again. Hit him twice with his car, right? They go off. Didn't hear about it. They started calling hospitals, trying to find like a John Doe, maybe someone died. They want the money. Where is the body, right? Nothing. So they're sitting around, they're like, maybe we should find another drunk to pass off as him and get the money that way. Well, 5 days go by, and Michael walks into the speakeasy. he's doing pretty okay. He's a little worse for wear. He's got a couple broken bones, and he was like telling people the story about how he was like, all I remember was like whiskey, and it was cold outside, and there was like a bright light. And then I woke up in this really nice room. It was a warm hospital. It was great. Now I'm here. I want some whiskey. So they're beyond pissed at this point. And so they're like, this is a matter of pride. It's not even money anymore because we're barely going to even make up for what we spent on this man to kill him. So they get him super drunk till he passes out. Take him upstairs to Marino's room above the speakeasy, and they hook up a tube to his mouth and then to the gas jet. They tape it around his mouth and put some like towels around his mouth and stuff. And they turn on the gas jet, and he finally dies. It took so much to kill this man. He dies in like 5 minutes from carbon monoxide poisoning. They bribe a doctor, and they have him pass it off as he died of pneumonia. And they go to the insurance companies, and they're like, hey, we buried my brother, or Michael Malloy, whichever one it was, and that we want the money. So they got about $800, and they had to split it up amongst all of them. Pascal and Marino actually just bought suits with it, so all of that for a suit. They go to one of the insurance companies, and they're like, sounds a little sus, where's the body? And they're like, oh, well, we buried it already, it's fine. I'm like, okay, we're not going to give you the money. And so they call the cops. Now, the cops were called, and they start sniffing around and asking questions and stuff, and word around town at that point had gotten to be that Iron Mike, this man, will not die, but people are trying to kill him. So they exhume the body, and they identify him, and then, luckily, carbon monoxide actually bonds with proteins in the blood, so it stays there for months after someone's died. So they were able to not only identify that it wasn't an accident, but it was murder. And because they'd heard around town that these 5 guys were trying to kill this man and it wasn't working, they were able to catch them. One of them ended up just going to prison, but the other 4, including Marino and Pascal, they were killed by electric chair on the first try. So I don't know about you, but this is such an insane story to me. I don't know if there was a supernatural cause. I don't know if God just didn't want him dead, if the universe was like, yeah, no, we're gonna keep him alive. We're gonna see how long he can survive. I don't know if there was a curse on him, like a good kind of curse, or was it a bad curse? I mean, he got a lot of alcohol in the end, at least. It beats me. If y'all have theories, I would love to hear them, because I'm confused, and I've done a lot of research into this, and he's just iron stomach. I don't know. I don't have any other things. If you want to hear more stories like this, I'd be happy to tell them. I hear a lot from the podcast that I listen to and that kind of thing. So I'd be happy to do more on this. Hit a comment if you want to hear more like this stuff. And that's what I'm into this week.